Alright guys, so this is going to be the second breeding video on my channel. This is actually going to be our first ever Poke pairing. This one is going to be about the P metallica. I'm by no means an expert on these. Like I said, this was my first ever pairing of any Poke, so everything I go over is just going to be my thoughts during the process, what happened with my spiders, and document everything in between. What I did, why I did it, and everything such. So without further ado, let's get into it. Poecilotheria metallica is a critically endangered species from southern India and has a tiny range of just 100 square kilometers, making their small habitat very susceptible to changes in environments such as deforestation. The original type specimen of this spider was found 100 kilometers south of their actual known range in a place called Guti, hence why the common name is Guti sapphire ornamental. How did it get 100 kilometers south of its range? Well, it was found on a pile of logs taken from its habitat and then transported by train. This spider has become extremely popular in the hobby for obvious reasons. Its bright blues and yellow flashes they exhibit make them a jewel of anyone's collection, really. Although the P-Met does possess one of the most potent venoms in the hobby, they can be more skittish rather than defensive and certainly fairly quick, therefore maybe not the best tarantula for a beginner just starting out. Now on to the breeding and my care of this species. I keep my adult female in a 20 by 20 by 30 arboreal exoterra. I have live plants, moss, springtails in there for her, so it does maintain quite a lot of humidity. Now, leading up to the breeding of these spiders, my female had recently molted out at the time, and I had another large subadult which I had unsexed, but due to its bright blue colours and dorsal pattern I had assumed it was male. I've actually raised that one from a sling. He was coming up to maturity just as my female molted out, so it was quite good timing. I continued to feed her up over the next 2 to 3 months, and my male had matured, and I upped the temperature of my female and increased the regular mistings to up the humidity. She was probably on my top shelf at that point at around 24 to 26 degrees at that time. So after she was fed, I tried a few pairings with them, and I never left this male in overnight due to I actually wanted him to go out to some of my friends. I never really intended to produce this species at any time, but I figured while I had the mature male there, I may as well try her. And as they had molted so closely together, I figured it'd be rude not to, really. I also was bearing in mind that this species is quite tricky to produce, so I figured I'd just give it a go. I never left this spider in, like I said, and the third pairing, I was sitting on the floor watching it happen, and he actually managed to get one palp into her epigastric furrow, lifting her up briefly. I wanted to get this male off, like I said, to 2 of my friends, so after that I was hoping that would be enough, and continued on. 6 months later, I continued feeding her up during this time. She'd webbed up her cork tube roughly around the 15th of March. Bear in mind she was paired on the 22nd of September, I believe. Unfortunately, I came down, I think, about a week after that, and she'd broken down all her webbing and was wandering about. It was at about this point, I should note, that I changed from a mesh Exoterra standard lid to an Arachnophoria acrylic lid. I can't say for sure if this is the reason that got her to drop a sack, but I could say there's certainly good quality, and it probably helped maintain some of the humidity in the enclosure, so certainly a good thing. A few weeks passed, and I was making notes on my whiteboard of when she would go away back into her cork tube and come back out. I think it was around the 15th of April that I noted down that she'd webbed up super heavily again, and she webbed up so much so that I was sure it wasn't a molt. Previously, when she webbed up in March, I did check the tube for a molt as well, but even when this species molts, it doesn't quite look like this. So she webbed up again on the 15th of April, and I checked it on the 22nd, I think it was, and I couldn't even see in, it was so thick. So I continued spraying around the cork bark tube, keeping the humidity up and hoping she would drop. I think it was the day before the London Invert show. I think that was on the 27th that myself and Jeremy's Wild World came down here, and I pulled down my enclosure with the PMET female in it, and we actually managed to see an egg sac. So I wasn't sure how many days before. It could have been anywhere from the 15th up until that date, the 27th, that she laid the sac. So I wasn't really sure when she definitely laid it. I then had a problem because after the London Invert show, I was then meant to be going away for a week to Malvern RHS, the Royal Horticultural Society show, with microexotics, and leaving it in there for a week without me spraying it and without me seeing it made me a bit uneasy, and maybe it was too hasty, maybe it was just right, but anyway, I decided to pull it. Going away for that long, I wasn't too happy about. So anyway, this is what transpired. Alright guys, so this is a bit of a nerve-wracking one. In front of me here I have my adult female P metallica. I'm going away for nearly a week, so I want to get this egg sac out of here. So this could be a huge one. This could be, I'll be crying with happiness or with sadness, but we'll see. Either way, this will probably make it to my YouTube channel, regardless, to show that the successes and the failures. This is my first ever Poecilotheria attempt at breeding, so we'll see if I got this. So this is her enclosure here. You can see she's quite webbed up. We're going to start to go in and see if we can't get that sac out of there. So the egg sac looks to be very large. I'm doubting this is going to be very easy. It's already being very defensive. I'm gonna get slightly set longer tongs. It's all the way down there underneath it. She's not happy with me. Should grab my phone as well. Sorry if I'm getting in the way of the camera here. Okay. Whew. Shaking a little bit. Damn. Alright, well, there it is. She wasn't too happy. And now she needs to take a few breaths and see how this goes. So they're not helping at all. Be really careful not to damage anything inside. Okay. So there is eggs, but whether they're fertile remains to be seen. I think I can see the outline of EW, like eggs with legs on them, but it's really hard to say. these have been kept at a pretty high temperature. That one in the middle there definitely doesn't look fertile, but it's really hard to say whether these are about to quite hard to say, really. Regardless of whatever happens, there'll be an update on these at a later date. We'll see what the crack is, but it's not looking too great from my opinion. Well guys, it's the day after I came back. I came back from RHS Malvern last night. My motorbike broke down on the side of the motorway, 20 minutes away from home. And I got back so late I didn't even come down the spider shed. So I've just come back down. And to be honest, I was very disheartened after I saw that peanut sack. But this is just going to show you why you should always incubate your sack, even if you think that it might not be fertile. This is the sack now. I've just spread it all out. Not sure how many EWOs are here, but there's quite a few. So, yeah, pretty happy with that. Obviously, there are some eggs here that haven't quite developed yet. She must have made that sack a little later than I expected. But anyway, we're going to keep going with this, so fingers crossed. So guys, there you have it. That was that. It's now been 22 days since we pulled it on the 8th. It's now the 29th of May, which is when we're filming this whole video. And in the last few days, the eggs with legs, they started to turn blue. And by no means the fact that they were eggs with legs when I came back from the RHS show did that mean that I was 100% going to have good PMETs. But anyway, so it's now been, like I said, 22 days. And we now have noticed that they started to turn blue a couple of days ago. And only today, they have now started turning into the first nymph stage. So you can see they've just done this today. So these have all started popping out as the first P metallica nymphs. How amazing. You can see they've started to develop that dorsal pattern on their abdomen, and they've also started to get some setae on their abdomen. They're very cute. So Poecilotheria have 2 nymph stages, unlike most other tarantulas. I don't know if there's another species that has 2 nymph stages. Normally they go from egg to eggs with legs to nymph to spiderling. These will go into another nymph stage and then spiderling. So they do take a little bit longer. The way we decided to incubate these was a little bit different to how I normally do it, but I consulted other people, and this is how some people seem to do it. So it's a little bit different. Basically all I have is damp substrate with sphagnum moss mixed in, and a Bryoplast 5.8 Bryoplast with lots of holes, quite a lot of ventilation actually. In hindsight, I probably would decrease the ventilation, and ideally I'd put mesh on these to stop fungus gnats getting in, but that's how we've been incubating them. So at this point, I'm fairly confident now that these will reach their sling stage. They're all looking pretty strong. We've picked out a few bad eggs, and we're looking to have about 88 in here. So that's, I don't think that's a small sack, but it's not a huge sack either for the species. And yeah, so that's pretty much our journey that we're going to document. Of course, I'll be posting photos when these become slings, but for now, that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. That's going to be a little bit of a longer video, and any questions in the comments, feel free to ask. I'm not here to hide any of my secrets. It's not like magic. I would love to have these more in the hobby, and of course these will be getting new homes when eventually they become slings. So you might see me, I'll be at Bristol, Coventry, and there's one more, Brighton show next. So that'll be my next 3. I'll have them with me there. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. I tried to document it in as much detail as possible, and yeah, maybe it will help you guys produce some as well. So thanks a lot, guys.